I've got my eye on a handsome man. I've taken a liking to a handsome man. His sister is an overprotective brother worshipper, terrified I might beat him up. Me. I'm rich. His mum thinks my hips are too small, and I won't be good for bearing children. Me. I'm very rich. His dad says I have a terrible temper, and will definitely not let him hold his future grandchildren. Me. I'm very, very rich. In the end, I used my money to buy myself a boyfriend. I've got my eye on a handsome man. As I was preparing to go abroad for a trip, he walked past me dragging his suitcase. Those long legs nearly blinded me. In that instant, I knew I had fallen in love. My legs wouldn't obey me, and as if possessed, I followed him out of the airport. Was my brother calling me from behind? Must have been my imagination. He hailed a taxi. I just stood right next to him. My gaze was so intense even the taxi driver couldn't help but glance over. Young lovers having a fight? The handsome man finally looked back at me. His beautiful eyebrows slightly furrowed, then he shook his head at the driver. Don't know her. So handsome. Even those 3 words made my heart flutter. In that moment I was overjoyed, already thinking about what to name our future children. Now the question was, what surname should my child have? This was a question worth pondering deeply. Watching him about to get into the taxi, and me on the verge of saying goodbye forever. To never see him again. Worlds apart. It sounded like a truly sad affair. I immediately grabbed his arm. The handsome man turned to look at me, then shifted his gaze to my hand. Something wrong, I nodded. With my limited brain capacity, I racked my brains for a pickup line. I don't have money for a ride. Can you take me back to the city? The handsome man fell silent. So silent it felt a bit eerie. He pointed at the diamond bracelet on my wrist and said in an unreadable tone, Are you joking? Seeing his gaze fixed on my diamond bracelet, I immediately took it off. Will this cover the fare? Trading a necklace for a chance to ride in the same car as the handsome man. That's a total win. The handsome man gave me another deep look. It wasn't until many years later that I learned his first impression of me was a rich, silly, lovesick girl. But I really want to argue. Isn't this diamond bracelet pretty cheap? I have dozens more in my drawer. Don't get it. Anyway, I finally succeeded in getting into the taxi. This was mainly thanks to the driver uncle who put in a good word for me. Hi, I'm Chen Lingxue. I introduced myself first, then looked at the handsome man with eager anticipation. He seemed a bit overwhelmed by my stare. Rong Ye. He lifted his eyes and repeated, My name is Rong Ye. Wow, not only is the handsome man good-looking, even his name sounds so nice. My mind filled with pink bubbles. Thinking of my mother who's far away abroad, I really want to tell her mom. I'm in love. Maybe my lovesick gaze was too obvious. As soon as Rong Ye got in the car, he curled up in the corner, placing his backpack between us as if trying to create a galaxy's distance. As if I was some kind of monster, I reached out and pinched my own cheek smooth and flawless. Clearly a great beauty. I quietly shifted a bit closer to him. After all, I'm a girl and should maintain some modesty. So, should I bag him and take him home or just knock him out with a stick? That's a question worth pondering deeply. I was about to take out my phone to call my sister-in-law, to see if I could get some tips from her. Honestly, I'm not too skilled at picking up handsome men. If allowed, I'd prefer to just use money. After all, the only thing I'm poor in is money. But when I reached into my pocket, oh no, my phone, along with my suitcase, was left at the airport. But I'm not worried about losing my things. Today was originally for going abroad, with my brother and sister-in-law seeing me off at the airport. But then I met my soulmate. By now, they're probably still at the airport. At worst, I'll just go home and buy a new set. Phones are cheap anyway. I have 7 or 8 of the latest models in my drawer at home, all waiting for me to favor them. The taxi swayed and bumped its way into the city. No matter how reluctant I was, I still had to say goodbye to Rong Ye. After all, we live in a society governed by law. I can't just bag him and take him home. Even if I were to bag him, it'd have to be on a dark and windy night. I'm afraid my parents would scold me when bailing me out. And getting hit with a stick really hurts. My brother would definitely laugh at me with my sister-in-law. I still have my pride. Before leaving, I made one more small request. I lost my phone. Can I borrow yours to make a call? I sounded utterly pitiful. Rong Ye didn't hesitate at all and handed me his phone. I quickly called my brother to come pick me up nearby. Then, in the blink of an eye, I glanced at his WeChat ID. Although I might be a bit lovesick, my brain isn't made of cement. Having a photographic memory is my greatest strength, especially since this string of numbers relates to my future happiness, and whether my children can correctly find their dad. I memorized it with utmost seriousness. After returning the phone to Rong Ye, as he got out of the car, I took off the diamond bracelet from my left wrist. I really don't have any money, only this bracelet. Use it to cover the fare. Hope we meet again someday. After saying that, I told the driver uncle to drive off. Rong Ye tried to return the bracelet to me, but he couldn't catch up to the speeding car. I had my own little scheme. Even though I think this bracelet is pretty cheap, it's more than enough to cover the fare. So this could also serve as a new reason for us to meet again in the future. After driving a distance, I asked the driver to pull over, planning to wait here for my brother to pick me up. Sweetie, do you like that young man from earlier? The driver was being nosy. But since waiting time is pretty boring, I started chatting with him. I do. The driver smiled warmly. Then I wish you the best of luck in winning him over. Wow. This driver uncle really knows how to talk. I immediately took off a pair of earrings and handed them to the driver. This is for the fare. The driver looked at the pair of diamond earrings, paused for a moment, then quickly waved his hand. That young man already paid the fare. You don't need to pay again. I waved my hand grandly, speaking with all the confidence in the world. It's fine. I have money. Really, I'm very rich. So I'm trying to buy myself a boyfriend. When my brother found out about this, he scolded me. Chen Lingxue. Oh, Chen Lingxue, I knew you were wasteful. But I never thought you'd give away a diamond bracelet and earrings for a man you don't even know. Looking at my brother's pained expression, I asked sincerely, aren't they pretty cheap? My brother was speechless. Looks like I really ticked him off. I then pointed at my sister-in-law, Lin Bai, beside me. If I hadn't used money, would you have ever met my sister-in-law? That's a long story. He and my sister-in-law had no fate. It was all thanks to my money. Back then, Lin Bai was just a little follower of mine. Even though I scolded her every day and made her run errands to buy water for me, I also gave her a lot of money. I even gave her a big villa as a birthday present. Otherwise, with my stubborn temper and sharp tongue, Lin Bai would have left long ago. How could she have wholeheartedly been my little follower? My brother would never have had the chance to meet her. What's wrong with using money? If you can get what you want, isn't that enough? My brother opened and closed his mouth several times. In the end, he remained silent. Besides, don't think I didn't notice. Yesterday, you bought dozens of bracelets for my sister-in-law. What's wrong with me using one bracelet to chase someone? My brother fell completely silent. Lin Bai sat beside me, covering her mouth as she laughed, not forgetting to add sarcastically, weren't you going to travel the world to heal your broken heart? I rolled my eyes at her, seriously rebutting, starting a new relationship is the best way to heal a broken heart. I used to run after Kiwen all the time. Later, I found out he never liked me, and even that past crush was a misunderstanding. Thinking about it now just feels embarrassing. Over a decade of feelings gone to waste, and I finally came to my senses. That's why I planned to go abroad, hoping to heal my broken heart. But who would have thought? At the airport, I'd meet my cure, Rong Ye. A figure so stunning it could block half the view, absolutely dazzling. Before I could even look for Rong Ye, I ran into his mother. The place was his home. When I followed his mom to his house, Rong Ye was in the kitchen cooking. His stir-frying skills were incredibly proficient, the aroma of the food wafting into my nose. I secretly glanced into the kitchen. A plate of tomato and eggs looked and smelled amazing. I could already imagine how blissful married life would be. Definitely a perfect stay-at-home husband. I swore to myself that I must get my hands on him. Preferably, bring him home. When he saw me, he was clearly very surprised, standing there with a spatula in hand, looking like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Obviously, he thought I was hopelessly infatuated with him, and had even tracked him down to his home. Well, he was only half right. This was clearly fate's arrangement. And to quote a classic line, what fate arranges is the greatest. It wasn't until a burnt smell filled the air that Rong Ye remembered to keep cooking. Who is she? A girl who looked about 15 or 16 sat on the sofa, holding a Peppa Pig pillow, curled up watching TV. When she saw me, a hint of wariness flashed in her eyes, especially when she noticed my gaze fixed on Rong Ye. She even shot me a glare behind everyone's back. I glared right back without hesitation. A girl appearing at his house at this time, either a younger sister, a childhood friend from the neighborhood, or a rival. If it's the former, even though I should try to win her over. She glared at me. Rong Ye's mom looked at the wound on my leg, feeling a bit embarrassed. She pulled me to sit on the sofa, then went to her room to look for antiseptic. Rong Ye, who was cooking in the kitchen, seemed to hear the commotion. After taking off his apron, he strode into the living room with his long legs. He walked straight up to me, his eyes scanning me. When he saw the wound on my calf, he sighed deeply. Did my mom hit you with the car? Clearly, he was very familiar with his future mother-in-law's driving skills. I nodded, starting to recall the scene of my first encounter with my future mother-in-law. I had planned to go shopping and eat at the mall with a girlfriend. While waiting for her, I was taking a call on the roadside when a car suddenly drove toward me, swerving and swaying, clearly mistaking the gas for the brake. Even though I tried my best to dodge, I was still knocked to the ground, my calf scraping against the concrete, bloody and almost too gruesome to look at. I howled in pain. Originally, I wanted to curse the driver, but as soon as my future mother-in-law got out of the car, she apologized frantically, her attitude incredibly sincere. What could I do? As a kind-hearted little fairy, I had no choice but to forgive her. Of course, I was still a bit annoyed inside. So my future mother-in-law invited me to her home, said she would personally apply medicine for me and cook me a meal to apologize. If I still felt unwell, she'd have her son take me to the hospital immediately. It was my first time experiencing how terrifying enthusiasm could be. She practically dragged and pulled me into her car. Her strength made me suspect she was a kidnapper, using this novel method to lure me into a shady vehicle. Unfortunately, there weren't many people around. In the end, she forced me into the car. My future mother-in-law looked full of guilt and didn't seem like a bad person, so I held on to my half-frightened life and swayed all the way to Rong Ye's house in her car. Thank goodness I don't have heart problems. Otherwise, meeting Rong Ye would probably have happened in a hospital. My future mother-in-law brought out the first aid kit. Rong Ye crouched in front of me and took out cotton balls to clean my wound. I propped my chin in my hands, staring intently at Rong Ye in front of me. No matter how hard I thought, I never imagined that meeting him again would be such a fantastical experience. Truly a match made in heaven. So destined to meet again. I stared somewhat dazedly, and the little girl threw away her pillow and came over, still looking unhappy. Is my brother good-looking? I nodded. Extremely good-looking. The little girl's lips instantly pouted, but inside I was overjoyed. That sentence confirmed that this delicate-looking girl was my future sister-in-law. Instantly, I felt a wave of affection for her. My future sister-in-law moved closer to me, frowning as she asked, "So, do you like my brother? Do you want to be my sister-in-law?" How did she know? Am I that obvious? As soon as she said that, Rong Ye's hand paused while cleaning my wound. My future father-in-law and mother-in-law smacked their daughter on the head. What nonsense are you talking? Then they gave me an apologetic look. But I didn't mind. So, how about I become your sister-in-law? The little sister's eyes instantly welled up with tears. No, you look so fierce. You'll definitely bully my brother, I retorted. I'm rich. Very, very rich. I can buy her lots and lots of things. Clothes, jewelry, I can give her anything. As long as she calls me sister-in-law. My future mother-in-law froze. Then she gave me a once-over. You're too thin. I want to hold grandchildren. Oh. At that moment, I automatically ignored what sounded like a polite rejection. I replied, I have a lot of money. Enough to get my body in shape. Have as many children as I want. If that doesn't work, I'll just open an orphanage guaranteeing she can be a grandma every day. Holding grandchildren all the time. After all, there's no rule that grandchildren have to be biological. At most, I can promise not to let Rong Ye be cuckolded. My future father-in-law also stared at me, hesitating. This isn't very appropriate, is it? Inappropriate. I tilted my head, seriously replying to my future father-in-law. But I have a lot of money. Enough to solve all their worries with money. My brother told me, anything that can be solved with money is not a problem. But never try to solve things with other methods. So this time, I also want to buy myself a boyfriend. Simple and direct. If it doesn't work, move on. I'm a very efficiency-oriented person. Rong Ye, who had been silent all along, finally looked up at me. So what? Under his probing gaze, I made a phone call. Half an hour later, the gifts I had my housekeeper buy completely filled Rong Ye's home. All kinds of limited edition dolls, expensive cosmetics, beautiful clothes and jewelry and high-quality tea. I piled all these things in front of them. I really am rich. I just want to use money to buy myself a boyfriend. So I turned my hopeful gaze to Rong Ye. So, how about considering it? Let's start dating. He ignored me. Instead, he focused on cleaning the wound on my leg. Just as I was about to keep trying, Rong Ye suddenly looked up at me. What's this? Following his finger, I looked. Pretty embarrassing. A dog bit me. A while ago, while hiking, I kicked a dog on the way down. The dog went crazy and bit me, a sensation I still can't forget. Even now, the thought makes my scalp tingle. Even though Rong Ye didn't bother with me, my grand gesture of giving so many gifts successfully won his sister over. Rong Yuan. My future sister-in-law's name is so nice. Holding a limited edition toy in one hand and my arm in the other. She smiled brightly. Sis, how could you fall for my boring brother? I don't know why. But that sounded somewhat disdainful. After finishing cleaning my wound, Rong Ye stood up and glanced at his sister, looking exasperated. I affectionately wrapped my arm around Rong Yuan's and openly asked about her brother's hobbies. My brother doesn't really like anything. His favorite thing to do every day is stay in his study drawing blueprints. He's a pretty boring person. Rong Yuan shrugged. As soon as she finished speaking, her brother gave her a knock on the head. Go back to your room and do your homework. Forced back to her room to do homework, Rong Yuan held a limited edition doll in each hand. Looking back every few steps, her gaze toward me full of reluctance. My future mother-in-law sat beside me, looking at the mountain of gifts piled in front of her, unsure where to step. Zhao, you really didn't have to be so polite. Polite? This is just a little meeting gift for my own family. So I dug through the pile of gifts and pulled out an exquisitely wrapped box, handing it to my future mother-in-law. Auntie, this skincare set is really good for the skin. Use it consistently for a few months, and crow's feet and everything will disappear. Your skin will be as smooth as ever. I wasn't lying. This set of cosmetics cost me several diamond necklaces, so its effects are naturally top-notch. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare put it on my face. Hearing that this skincare set could make her skin as smooth as a peeled egg, my future mother-in-law's eyes instantly lit up. She looked at me with a hint of hope. Is it really that effective? I nodded. Use it consistently, guaranteed results. My future mother-in-law chuckled, while Rong Ye stood nearby and coughed twice. She glanced at him. After hesitating for a while, she finally seemed to make up her mind. Grabbing my hand. This girl is so pretty. She looks exactly like my future daughter-in-law. Wow. That sounds so good. I quickly slipped a jade bracelet off my wrist and put it on my future mother-in-law's, without a second thought. This bracelet doesn't suit me yet, but it looks great on you, Auntie. I felt like wearing a jade bracelet today for no particular reason. Who would have thought it'd come in handy? Adding another brick to my straightforward path of love. Seeing that I had won over another person, Rong Ye turned his pleading gaze to his father. My future father-in-law looked kind, but he seemed like the toughest one to win over. But at a glance, I spotted the fishing rod in the corner of the living room, and the huge fish tank in the living room. So before my future father-in-law could speak, I pulled out an expensive fishing rod from the mountain of gifts. Luckily, I had the foresight. These gifts were all sorts of things. There was bound to be something they liked. Uncle, I really like fishing, but I can never catch anything. You look like an expert fisherman. This rod seems like it should belong to someone who knows how to use it. I deliberately sounded regretful. When Uncle heard me praise his fishing skills, his eyebrows lifted with a smile. He pushed aside Rong Ye, who was blocking him, and began eagerly sharing fishing tips with me. For every sentence he said, I nodded in agreement. A total fangirl. By the end, my future father-in-law looked at me even more warmly. This girl is wonderful. It'd be even better if she could be my daughter-in-law. After dropping that hint, both my future father-in-law and mother-in-law turned their gazes to Rong Ye. He looked utterly helpless. In the end, he could only point toward the dining table. Can we eat first? After dinner, under his future mother-in-law's urging, Rong Ye drove me home. My leg was injured by his future mother-in-law. A mother's debt, repaid by her son. I regret not demanding he marry me as compensation. Rong Ye drove me into the neighborhood, parking the car in front of my villa. Do you need me to walk you in? It sounded like a polite gesture. Of course, I wouldn't let any opportunity slip. That would be great, thank you. He hesitated, glancing at the wound on my leg. Then, without a word, he got out, opened the car door for me, unbuckled my seatbelt, and helped me out of the car. My brother and sister-in-law weren't home yet. Rong Ye helped me inside. I wanted to find some excuse to talk to him a bit more, to deepen our connection. But who would have guessed that, as soon as he saw my house, he froze in place. What's wrong? I noticed his gaze and asked, Do you like my house? Rong Ye nodded. He seemed to want to say something, but I beat him to it. If you like it, I'll give you one. No, I'll give you 3. My family has plenty of villas. Many of them have never even been lived in. Rong Ye looked at me with a complicated expression before finally sighing deeply. I just like the design of this house. Now that he mentioned it, I remembered. When chatting with his future mother-in-law, I think she mentioned that Rong Ye was an architectural designer. And the design of my family's villa was done by a famous overseas designer hired by my often absent dad. Honestly, I don't see anything special about it. But Rong Ye liked it. And I'm always smart. So I immediately told Rong Ye, we have several more houses designed like this. Would you like to see them all? Rong Ye instantly looked at me, his eyes filled with eager anticipation and excitement. Is that okay? Of course it is. If he becomes my man, he can look at as many as he wants. Ahem. Suddenly remembering my brother's advice about modesty, I held back those words. Seeing how late it was, I decisively took out my phone and handed it to Rong Ye. Then let's go see the houses together tomorrow. We should exchange contact info first. Even though I already memorized his WeChat ID with my excellent memory, I much prefer openly exchanging contact info like this. Rong Ye didn't hesitate either. When talking about other house layouts, his eyes sparkled. Without a second thought, he scanned my WeChat. Yay! Put the handsome man's WeChat. Another happy day. My lovesick look was caught by my sister-in-law. Lin Bai Bai laughed brightly, pulling my hand to gossip. Is this the guy you saw at the airport? I nodded. For once, I felt a bit shy. Handsome, right? I glanced at my brother standing nearby with a look of disdain. Much handsomer than my brother, I said, holding Lin Bai Bai's hand. Right, sis? Lin Bai Bai didn't even have time to reply. I got smacked on the head by my brother. My head throbbed with pain. Lin Bai Bai, who was sitting close to me earlier, was now pulled into my brother's arms. Keep your lovesickness to yourself. Don't corrupt my girlfriend. Theft. Think having a girlfriend makes you special. I'll soon have a drop-dead gorgeous boyfriend too, okay? We'll see who's showing off then. I mentally gave my brother a good round of despise. I woke up early the next day. Spent a full 2 hours at the vanity, making sure I looked stunning before heading out to meet Rong Ye. Since I promised to show him houses, I had to keep my word. I specifically picked a few houses designed by well-known architects and showed them to Rong Ye one by one. He seemed genuinely thrilled. His eyes lit up when he saw these houses, much more lively than when he was alone with me. In that moment, I wished I could transform into one of these cold, empty villas, just so Rong Ye's passionate gaze would linger on me. We saw 3 houses in the morning. At lunch, he insisted on treating me, saying it was to thank me for showing him around. I didn't get it. What's there to thank? If he liked them, I could just give him the houses. I have plenty more properties under my name anyway. Besides, we'll be family soon. No need to draw lines. Maybe because I showed him the houses, Rong Ye finally wasn't as quiet as during our previous meetings. He started talking about his career and how he started a company with a few friends right after graduating. That's amazing. Starting your own business right after college. My eyes sparkled with admiration. Rong Ye seemed to glow in my eyes. Love really does give you rose-tinted glasses. Who knew having a crush could do the same? It's quite troublesome. Rong Ye smiled, his face lighting up when he talked about his dreams. But the market hasn't been great these past few years. It's not easy to freely design and create. At this, his smile faded a bit. I could understand that a little. The designer for my parents' overseas villa initially brought over stunning blueprints, but my dad insisted on nitpicking the designs. Even though his taste isn't great, he had to have the villa built according to his ideas. I even argued with him about it, but he just kicked me onto the sofa, told me to shut up. What could I do? I had to watch helplessly as my dad ruined it, as the designer's heart broke, and as what should have been an exquisitely beautiful house turned into an eyesore. For designers to freely create, it really is difficult. Clients can be too restrictive. But who am I? I'm Chen Lingxue, the one who lacks everything except money. So I immediately slapped the table and asked him seriously, "Do you have a dream house in mind?" Rong Ye smiled. "I do, but making it a reality is too difficult." Difficult? I don't think it's difficult at all. All obstacles ultimately come down to not having enough money to make it happen. Since I like him and want to be with him, I should be his strongest supporter, backing his dreams. I don't really have any dreams of my own, just planning to laze around and enjoy life. But now I have one more, to bring this drop-dead gorgeous man home. I immediately took out the black card from my purse. Go wild. I won't interfere with your creativity at all. But on one condition, you must keep in touch with me regularly and update me on your design progress. Doesn't Rong Ye want to design his own house? I'll make it happen for him. Even though I already have plenty of houses, one more won't hurt. Rong Ye didn't take the card right away. His smile faded, replaced by a serious expression. This isn't how you should chase someone. You're spending too much money. Oh, so he knows I'm chasing him. Suddenly feeling a bit touched, but I still seriously rebutted. Is a house really that expensive? He silently gave me a thumbs up. In the end, Rong Ye took on the project. He promised to design an exceptional house for me, one that would justify the money I spent. I didn't really care about that. What mattered was using this opportunity to get closer to Rong Ye. When chasing someone, you have to be bold. When I liked Quen before, part of it was poor judgment, and part of it was my own hesitation. That gave Nijang a chance to swoop in. So now I'm determined to be bold and not miss out when I meet someone I like. If it doesn't work, I'll use money. I refuse to believe I can't buy myself a boyfriend. For every ounce of kindness he shows me, I'll get 2 steps closer. Rong Ye, do you think I treat you well? After spending so much money, there should be some difference, right? Rong Ye nodded. Very well. I smiled. Glancing at the white wall behind him, I stood up, placed one hand against the wall and boxed him in. I've seen people do this at school before. Since I'm so good to you, how about considering dating me? I blinked, looking at Rong Ye with eager anticipation. With such a handsome face, it'd be a shame not to date me. Rong Ye's ears turned a bit red. He tried to push me away, but I deliberately teased him, inching closer bit by bit. So close that if he leaned in just a little, I could kiss his lips. TSK. My first kiss. Can't even give it away when I want to. So frustrating. Maybe because I teased him too much. Rong Ye suddenly grabbed my hand, lifted me up, spun me around, and pinned me against the wall instead. Chen Lingxue, so eager to date me? I nodded vigorously. At first, it was just attraction. But the more I looked at his face, the more I liked it. I felt he was destined to be my future child's father. I had to bring him home. It felt like fate. Rong Ye was different to me. Rong Ye didn't say anything, just leaned closer and closer. So close that I thought he'd kiss me the next second. But he let go of my hand, just as I started feeling flustered. Not yet. He only said those 2 words before slowly stepping back. I thought it was a pity. I'm in a hurry. Urgently need a boyfriend to soothe my wounded heart. But with this professional relationship, I had a legitimate reason to see Rong Ye. Since graduation was approaching and I had to return to school for graduation photos, I decisively called Rong Ye, asking him to come with me to school and update me on the design progress at the same time. Since it involved work, Rong Ye naturally didn't refuse. By the time I changed into my graduation gown at school, I saw Rong Ye standing under a camphor tree. I was about to run over when I saw a girl in a dress approach Rong Ye looking shy, clearly trying to steal my man. Infuriating. I rushed over and lifted my noble chin. Glancing at the girl who wasn't as pretty as me, I breathed a sigh of relief. I firmly believe Rong Ye isn't blind. With a beauty like me right in front of him, he definitely wouldn't go for anyone else. The girl seemed to know me. Seeing me stand in front of Rong Ye, she hesitated, but more than that, she looked unwilling to give up. So, daringly, she actually brought up my painful past. As soon as she said it, I saw Qi Wen and Nijang walking toward me together. Their loving appearance was downright annoying, the kind that makes you want to kick them. Shuo? Qi Wen seemed surprised to see me. After our heart-to-heart in the thatched cottage last time, I deliberately avoided him for months. I even claimed I was going abroad. Now, suddenly meeting, he looked hesitant too, secretly shielding Nijang behind him. Theft. Am I the type to hold grudges? Protecting her so closely as if I am unwanted. I quickly gave Rong Ye a meaningful look. Help a sister out, bro. Rong Ye looked at me, then at Qi Wen and Nijang. He seemed to understand something but didn't say anything. After a moment of silence, just as I was about to make a run for it, Rong Ye suddenly grabbed my hand. His long, slender fingers wrapped around mine, bone by bone. Warm and comforting. I kept a straight face. But inside, I was screaming with joy. Chen Lingxue finally has someone to hold hands with. Even though I'm rich, I've always lacked a boyfriend. Qi Wen was blind and had no luck, so I don't care for him anymore. Rong Ye is very lucky indeed. I've always been good at seizing opportunities, so I immediately moved closer to Rong Ye, raising an eyebrow proudly. Think you're the only one? I, Chen Lingxue, have a boyfriend too, okay? Hearing this, both Qi Wen and Nijong froze in place. Their shocked expressions were exactly what I expected, but that was the effect I wanted. I deliberately turned to Rong Ye affectionately. I'm a bit hungry. Let's go eat, okay? So cringy. Why do I feel like throwing up? After leaving the school, our hands were still holding. Rong Ye tried to let go, but I had already firmly grasped his hand. He turned to look at me. I widened my eyes, full of innocence. Is something wrong? No. Nothing. He didn't tell me to let go. He even allowed me to keep holding his hand. I tentatively hooked my fingers into his palm. At first, he didn't react. Then he suddenly gripped my hand, a hint of helplessness in his expression. Stop moving. Only a fool wouldn't take advantage. Since Rong Ye wasn't resisting or trying to pull his hand away, it meant he had some feelings for me. Otherwise, he could have just pulled away and left. This was his silent acceptance of my pursuit and closeness. He was just shy and too embarrassed to say it outright. And he even held my hand back. That alone showed I was special to him. It's fine. I can be the proactive one. Later, in certain special situations, I can still take the initiative, as long as I can bring him home. I got into Rong Ye's car, thinking he would take me straight home. But unexpectedly, the car turned toward his neighborhood. My face flushed. Is this really okay? Lin Bai said a girl should have some modesty when needed. That makes you even more alluring. Rong Ye frowned, sounding confused. What's the problem? My face turned even redder. Things are moving so fast. You're taking me to meet your parents already. I'm not ready. Thinking he was taking me to meet his family, I quickly pulled out my phone to message my housekeeper. Even though I've already met them once, this time, Rong Ye was taking me to meet them himself, maybe to acknowledge our relationship. I'm a good future daughter-in-law. Of course, I'd bring gifts. I just wonder if they'd like gold bricks. Lin Bai liked them. Last time I gave her 10, she laughed so hard her mouth couldn't close. Suddenly, Rong Ye slammed on the brakes. He pulled over to the side of the road, unbuckled his seatbelt, and slowly leaned toward me. Chen Lingxue. Even my name sounds so good coming from him. I'm in love. I looked up at him. Can't a girl be a little more reserved? He said with a hint of helplessness in his eyes. I tilted my head and asked, if I'm reserved, can I bring you home? My goal is clear. To bring Rong the home and make him my future child's father. With those excellent genes. Our children will be so handsome and beautiful. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Rong the fell silent. He looked at me, hesitating several times. In the end, he couldn't resist reaching out to pinch my cheek. Plump and soft. Must feel great. But I'm a reserved person, I only let Rong the pinch. Chen Lingxue, what am I going to do with you? He shook his head and restarted the car. What to do? Just agree to be my boyfriend. I'm rich, I can take care of him. If he's willing. I could even take care of his whole family. Yes, I'm rich. I have a lot of money. I thought it would be a happy trip to meet his family. But I encountered an uninvited guest. A nicely dressed girl was sitting next to my future mother-in-law, even holding her hand. Ridiculous. As soon as the girl saw Rong Ye, she stood up. Avi, you're back? Her smile was gentle and shy, clearly the look you give someone you like. Another rival. I really want to knock her out with one punch. I'm a bit mean, I want to hit her in the face. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I get. I just want to date someone. Why so many obstacles? Rong Ye nodded at her. His expression was blank, which was the only comforting thing. As soon as Rong Yuanyuan saw me, she rushed over and started explaining the situation. Sis, that girl is our upstairs neighbor. Strictly speaking, you could say she's my brother's childhood friend, Wu Nunwan. They're also colleagues. From what I've observed, she likes my brother, but she only knows how to butter up my mum. So I firmly support you as my future sister-in-law. Rong Yuanyuan looked indignant. I took off the pink diamond bracelet on my wrist and handed it to her. A gift from your future sister-in-law. She immediately grabbed my arm, her eyes determined. Sis, I'll clear all obstacles for you. Then she rushed over and planted herself between Rong Ye and Wu Nunwan, and deliberately spoke loudly. Bro, why did you bring sis home today? Hearing this, Rong Ye tapped his sister on the head. Rong Yuanyuan, don't talk nonsense. Wu Nunwan, whose expression had dimmed for a moment, brightened up again instantly. Avi, who is this? Before Rong Ye could introduce me, I walked over with my head held high. Mistake. Forgot to wear high heels today. Seems I'm a bit shorter than this girl. Just a little. Lost my commanding presence. But in this situation, I couldn't back down. So I gave Rong Yuanyuan another meaningful look. Pink diamonds sure are useful. Rong Yuanyuan immediately wrapped her arm around mine and started bragging. I told you. She's my future sister-in-law. But they're not engaged yet. So my brother told me not to talk nonsense. Wu Nunyuan's expression wasn't great. She looked at Rong Ye with a mix of grievance and sadness, hesitating to speak pitiful enough to move anyone. Ugh, green tea. I want to scratch her. I wasn't wrong about her. Wu Nunwan is a classic green tea. On one hand, she said she'd be disturbing us by staying. On the other, she said it had been a long time, then put on an apron and started cooking in the kitchen, trying to look virtuous and capable in front of my future in-laws. I couldn't be bothered to compete with her. Besides, I can't cook. But then again, maybe I don't need to learn. I'm rich. Whatever Rong Ye wants to eat, I can get it with a phone call. Why bother getting covered in grease and smoke? Not enjoying your money? Are you stupid? I leaned close to Rong Ye and pointed at Wu Nunwan busy in the kitchen. What's this? You invite me for dinner but make me watch your childhood friend cozy up to you. Rong Ye looked exasperated. Chen Lingxue, that's not how you use cozy up, isn't it? Well, I don't care. Then what's going on now? I asked, hands in my pockets, full of resentment. What? One me isn't enough. Want a childhood friend too? If that's the case, then I guess I misjudged him. Wu Nunwan really was quite capable. When I ate, she served me food. When I drank water, she poured it for me, acting like the lady of the house hosting me. So annoying. But before I could get angry for 2 minutes, the doorbell rang. The set of gifts I asked my housekeeper to prepare had arrived. Extravagant beyond belief. Limited edition dolls, glowing jewelry, and a complete fishing set. Rong Ye held my hand, eyes welling up. Sis, you're my real sister-in-law. If you ever get tired of my brother, I'll kick him out of the family for you. My future mother-in-law smiled warmly, looking more satisfied with me by the minute. Zhao, if Rong Ye ever bullies you, I'll beat him up for you. My future father-in-law clung to the fishing gear, refusing to let go. Zhao, how about we make him your live-in son-in-law? Otherwise I feel bad accepting these gifts. My future mother-in-law and Rong Ye nodded vigorously. They seemed to think this was an excellent idea. Wu Nanuan's expression clearly soured, especially since her gifts were squeezed into a corner, dwarfed by my pile of presents, almost no comparison. I was secretly delighted. Trying to win people over against me? Too green. Sis has money and knows exactly how to use it. Come with me to the balcony. Rong suddenly spoke, put down his chopsticks and walked straight to the balcony. I quickly followed. The balcony door was slightly ajar, and I saw that little green tea Wu Nunwan secretly eavesdropping by the crack. What is it? His expression wasn't great. Rong looked down at me, speaking seriously. Stop giving such expensive gifts. Seriously? Spending money actually ended up annoying him. You think I shouldn't buy things? Rong nodded. We're not at that stage yet where you should give such expensive gifts to my parents and sister every time. Theft. If you just nod right now, we'd be family. And family doesn't stand on ceremony. What's a few gifts? I could give him 10 gold bricks in a heartbeat. Do you not like the gifts I give? Or do you not like me? Even though I think I'm a bit lovesick, I'm still smart. Chasing someone for so many years last time ended with nothing. This time, it was love at first sight. I just want a happy ending. Too bad I'm not good at anything except throwing money to get myself a boyfriend. But it seems I messed up again. If he doesn't like the gifts, I can stop giving them. But if he doesn't like me, then there's nothing I can do. There are plenty of fish in the sea. I don't have to obsess over this one person. Worst case, I'll listen to Lin Bye and keep a house full of young, handsome men. A different one every day of the month. The more I thought about it, the sadder I felt. Suddenly, Rong didn't seem so appealing anymore. I turned to leave, but he suddenly grabbed my hand and pulled me back. We're not done talking. Why are you running? Should I wait for him to say he doesn't like me? I have my pride, you know. I'm the heiress of the Chen group, after all. People who like me line up from here to abroad. Why should I keep chasing two unattainable guys? Chen Lingxue, I like girls who are a bit more well-behaved. Rong sighed. My eyes lit up. I immediately seized the opportunity. So do you think I'm well-behaved? As I spoke, I decisively raised my fist. If he shook his head, I'd probably punch him. If I can't have him, I'll destroy him. I have a temper too. Looking at my fist, he suddenly smiled and slowly reached out to hold it. Well-behaved. So well-behaved you could tear the roof off. So well-behaved that with just a few words, my parents are ready to pack me up and send me to you as a live-in son-in-law. Let's get this straight. I earned my future mother-in-law's affection with my own skills, okay? Well, maybe with the help of money. Wait. He said I'm well-behaved. And he likes well-behaved girls. Well-behaved equals me. So he likes me. Whether he liked me or not, he never said it out loud. Because Wu Nunwan came running out from the balcony in tears, her eyes red and swollen, fixed on Rong Ye, as if he was some heartless villain. She just stared without saying a word. Then, when my future mother-in-law came over, she covered her mouth and ran out of the house, making it look like I bullied her. So annoying. I thought I'd only have to see the annoying person once. But soon, we met again at the studio. Rong was still working on the design drafts for me. I had nothing to do, so I decided to visit his studio. As soon as I arrived, I saw Wu Nunwan sticking close to Rong Ye. Rong Ye was clearly trying to avoid her, but she kept pressing closer. Her shamelessness was even more impressive than mine. I had to admit defeat. What are you doing here? As soon as Wu Nunwan saw me, wariness flashed in her eyes. As a client of your company, can't I come take a look? After all, I'm the one paying. I have the right to stand tall. Hearing the commotion, Rong Ye, who was working with his head down, looked up at me. I waved at him, then walked straight over to him. Several people followed behind me, each carrying a phone box. Everyone's working hard. I brought you all some afternoon tea. As soon as I reached Rong Ye, I took out the specially prepared afternoon tea and handed it to him, then distributed the rest to the employees. To secure my position, you have to be willing to spend money. And just like that, I earned a wave of goodwill. Wu Nunwan glared at me, then picked up a file and walked straight into her office. Out of sight, out of mind. I was actually relieved. What are you doing here? Rong Ye put down his pen, opened one of the coffees and handed it to me. I took it. I missed you. I was smooth with the sweet talk. Thanks to Lin Bai Bai buying me a whole box of flirting guides. Rong Ye coughed lightly. Noticing the strange looks from his colleagues, he took my hand and led me out of the office. The hallway was empty. When he tried to let go, I quickly held on tight. Rong Ye, you can hold my hand whenever you want, but when to let go is up to me. I deliberately spoke firmly, just to see how he'd react. Indulgence or disgust would determine my next move. I stared at him, watching as indulgence slowly crept into his expression, and I couldn't help but smile. Looks like my money power still works. I was chatting with Rong Ye. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Wu Nunwan standing at the end of the hallway, her eyes looking like they wanted to bore holes through me. So scary. I didn't stay long. I had to go home in the afternoon. My brother and Lin Bai Bai were planning to get married soon, and I needed to help. But just before leaving, Wu Nunwan blocked my way. She was holding the coffee I brought and deliberately threw it into the trash right in front of me. Chen Lingxue, you rich people love someone today, someone else tomorrow. But I'm not like you. I've loved Rong Ye since we were kids, and he'll only ever be mine. What did she mean? Love someone today, someone else tomorrow. I've only liked 2 people in my life. The first one was a mistake. Besides, how many years she's loved Rong Ye is none of my business. What does it have to do with me? I didn't leave, so I couldn't be bothered to listen to her nonsense. I just picked up my bag and walked past her. Wu Nunwan grabbed my arm, her eyes fierce. If you insist on fighting me for him, you'll regret it. Oh my. Declaring war on me. Over a man? How ridiculous. Sure, let's see what you've got to compete with me. I slapped her hand away, picked up my limited edition latest bag and left the company. I was framed. My brother scolded me harshly. He pointed at the file and blueprints in my bag, then poked my head. Chen Lingxue. Oh, Chen Lingxue. Besides spending money, can't you be a little more careful? I was genuinely wrong this time. How was I not careful? But I never imagined someone would use such a low trick over a man. The file and blueprints in my bag were for a competition entry their company was about to submit. Winning could establish their reputation in the city. It was a very important event, and the documents were highly confidential. Yet they ended up in my bag. At the same time, at the competition venue, the team before them presented identical files and blueprints down to the punctuation. How could I have known someone would use such a dirty trick over a man? I thought of the worst schemes before, like making Ni Jiang fall into a pit. But I knew it was risky, so I even laid down some grass first. But Wu Nunwan's move, regardless of whether she could frame me, at the very least, their 6 months of hard work went to waste. Was it really worth it? I took the file and blueprints to their company. As soon as Wu Nunwan saw me, she pointed at me. It must have been her. Our company hardly ever has visitors, and every guest is registered. I just finished organizing the files and she showed up. There's no way anyone else could have stolen them. She was determined to pin all the blame on me. I slapped her across the face. Spoiled brat. Chen Lingxue. How dare you hit me? She covered her cheek, looking shocked. I'm hitting you because you deserve it. I raised my hand and slapped her again. Using such a low trick to drive a wedge, do you have any idea how much effort Rong Ye put into these blueprints? Wu Nunwan snorted coldly. All the employees stopped working and watched Wu Nunwan and me. Chen Lingxue, instead of framing me here, you should think about how you're going to explain this to Ava later. As soon as she finished speaking, Rong Ye walked out of his office, phone in hand. He didn't even glance at me, brushing past. His aura was icy, as if he didn't see me at all. He rushed out of the company. Chen Lingxue. See? That doesn't even want to look at you now. Wu Nunwan sneered. Her ugly expression made me want to vomit. So I slapped her again. Shut up, you barking dog. Then I turned and left. I called Rong Ye. He didn't answer. And he didn't reply to my messages. It was like he'd vanished. But he'd never been like this before. Even though I still believed Rong Ye would trust me, his sudden silence made me doubt. The file really was found in my bag. He had every reason to suspect me. But if he doubted me, it would really hurt. Because I couldn't accept someone I liked not trusting me. That would crush me. I called a few more times. But no one answered. Finally, I turned off my phone. Back home, Lin Bai immediately pulled me into the car. Little ancestor, did you forget you still have a rabies shot to get? My sadness vanished instantly at her words. Now I was terrified from head to toe. That shot is inhuman. It hurts so much. I struggled not to get in the car. But in the end, my brother kicked me in. Seriously. Such an undignified position. Face planting into the car. Do I not have any dignity? Bro, your sister just got her heart broken. Can't you be gentler? My brother was driving. He snorted, speaking bluntly. As if you were ever in a relationship. Wow. Had to hit me where it hurts. At the hospital, I was in so much pain my eyes watered, and I swore I'd never touch a dog again. But I couldn't escape the fear of that needle. It hurt so much I howled. Before I could even wipe my tears, I saw Rong Ye walking toward the 3rd floor with a document. What's wrong? Lin Bai was with me. Seeing me frozen, she immediately asked. I didn't answer. Holding my still aching leg, I limped to the 3rd floor. Lin Bai followed. Upstairs, I saw my future in-laws there too. My future mother-in-law had tears in her eyes, and my future father-in-law's eyes were red. Rong Ye leaned against the wall, glancing at the operating room from time to time. If I didn't realize what was happening now, I'd be an idiot. I rushed over. When Rong Ye saw me, he looked stunned for a moment. What are you doing here? I waved my phone. I called you many times. He froze, then pulled out his phone. It's off. So he wasn't ignoring me because of that incident, but because Rong Yuanyuan was fighting for her life in the operating room. I'm usually spoiled and unreasonable, but in times like this, I know what matters. So I slowly walked over to Rong Ye and silently stayed with him. Rong Yuanyuan was in a car accident on her way to the mall over the weekend. It was serious. She was still in surgery. I stayed with Rong Ye as long as he was there. When the operating room lights turned off, we both rushed over. The doctor shook his head. The injuries are too severe. The surgery is very difficult. The only doctor in the city who can perform it is Dr. Lin. But he's hard to get even with money. It's difficult to see him. How hard could it be? I glanced at Lin Bai, and she immediately understood. She turned to my brother to figure something out. No difficulty is insurmountable. Difficulties only exist because there isn't enough money to solve them. And I happen to have only money. Don't worry. Dr. Lin will be here soon to operate on Yuanyuan. When I said this, Rong Ye hugged me tightly. Thank you, Zhao. His voice trembled slightly. I could feel how much he cared for his sister, and I could clearly sense his heart melting for me. Her life was saved, but she fell into a coma. Still, it was the best outcome under the circumstances. My future mother-in-law cried until her eyes were swollen, staying at the hospital day and night with Yuanyuan. It took several months for her emotions to settle. I simply paid for a luxurious private room and hired a few people to take care of her. This was the least I could do as her future sister-in-law. Even with such a major incident in the Rong family, Wu Nunwan still didn't let me off. She even publicized everything. She said I used my wealth to steal someone else's boyfriend, stole company files out of spite, and used my connections to get a doctor for the surgery. There are always people online who resent the rich. Now they had an outlet. My Weibo inbox was flooded with hate messages. Lin Bai, afraid I'd be upset, confiscated my phone and all my electronics, almost locking me inside. I was speechless. Do I have "I'm fragile" written on my forehead? Did she really think such a small storm could take me down? No way. But my brother and Lin Baibai both thought I was putting on a brave face. To protect my fragile heart, they decided to handle it themselves. As for me, I was to stay home and not go anywhere for a few days. Seriously, my brother even locked my door. I sat on the balcony with a pen, drawing circles to curse my brother. May he get kicked out of bed by Lin Baibai in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, half asleep, someone knocked on the balcony door. I thought I heard Rong Ye's voice in my dream, but it felt like a dream. Just as I was about to go back to sleep, I heard a sharp, shattering sound. Then a gust of cold wind rushed into the room, and I was instantly awake. Seriously, he threw a rock and shattered my balcony door. I rubbed my eyes, lifted the blanket to let the cold air wake me up, then hurried to the balcony. Rong Ye was standing downstairs, waving at me. Not sleeping in the middle of the night. What was he doing at my house? But since this was the first time he'd come to me on his own, I was thrilled. But my door was locked and I couldn't get out. My phone was taken by Lin Baibai. Rong Ye, probably not wanting to wake anyone in the villa, started climbing the balcony as soon as he saw me. So handsome. The way he climbed was so cool. I brought a chair to the balcony and watched Rong Ye slowly make his way up. As soon as he climbed over, he pulled me into a tight hug. I almost couldn't breathe. I patted his shoulder, signaling him to loosen his grip. Want to hug tighter? He paused, then tightened his arms. Oh my God, for a moment I thought I saw my long-lost grandmother waving at me. I pushed him away with all my strength. Rong Ye looked startled, then hurt. Zhao, oh, you were about to crush me. I gasped, sitting on the chair to catch my breath. He froze, then held my hand and said, Your sister-in-law said you decided to stop pursuing me because of the online bullying. When did I say that? What was Lin Baibai up to? My mind was full of questions. But then I remembered, this woman had way more dating experience than me. She was probably helping. So I played along, nodding sadly. I didn't want to chase him anymore. I just wanted to skip to the good part. He, on a dark and windy night like this, perfect for pushing him onto the bed. Rong Ye frowned and pulled me into another hug. I almost suffocated again. Giving up halfway is a bad habit. So what? Oh my God, I'm going to die. Rong Ye suddenly bit my earlobe, making me shiver. So, you have to take responsibility. Responsibility, my foot. If you don't let go, I really will suffocate. Clearly, all of this was part of Lin Baibai's plan. When Rong Ye said that, the door swung open. My brother stood there with Lin Baibai, leaning against the doorframe, watching us with amusement. Looks like we found the right one this time. Lin Baibai glanced at my brother and patted his shoulder. Everything's fine now. Let's go back to sleep. My brother nodded, then turned to leave with his wife. Everything's fine? I widened my eyes, immediately calling out to my brother. You see a man in your sister's room in the middle of the night, and you think it's fine? Is this the collapse of morality, or the distortion of humanity? Hearing me, my brother looked at Rong Ye. My sister's yours now. If she misbehaves, just hit her. Don't hold back, wow. Truly my biological brother. The room fell silent again. So silent it felt intimate. After all, it was just Rong Ye and me, late at night. Perfect for some intimate moments. But clearly he wasn't in the mood. He just held me as we sat on the balcony. About Wu Nunwan. I perked up and immediately cut him off. I can handle this. You don't need to help. Even though people say I'm naive and rich, I'm not actually stupid. Years of elite education taught me how to deal with people with ill intentions. Someone like Wu Nunwan wasn't even worth my time. I didn't bother before because she wasn't worth the effort. Now that things had escalated, I wasn't afraid to ruin her. She brought it on herself. I didn't feel guilty at all. But there was one thing I was curious about. What? I leaned closer to Rong Ye. When did you start liking me? He blushed and refused to answer. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, I vaguely heard a few words. The first time we met, it was attraction. After that, I fell for you. Too bad I fell asleep. Now I don't remember a thing. I woke up early the next morning and took Rong Ye to the company to confront Wu Nunwan, even setting up a camera stand thoughtfully. Chen Lingxue. What do you think you're doing? She pointed at me. almost knocking over my camera. I quickly swatted her hand away. This camera costs over $1 million. If you break it, you'll have to pay. Hearing that, Wu Nanwan subtly withdrew her hand. But she still accused me. I simply turned on the live stream, then took out stack after stack of documents from my bag and threw them in her face. This is the shareholding agreement for our company. This is the acquisition agreement for your rival company. And this. I pulled out a USB drive from my bag, plugged it into my phone, and played a recording. I can give you our company's plans and design blueprints, but you have to insist Chen Lingxue gave them to you. See Chen Lingxue. Don't think you can frame me with some fake recording. Wu Nanwan's face turned pale, but she was still stubborn. I didn't mind crushing her completely, so I had someone pull up surveillance footage of her meeting with the rival company's representative at a cafe. A little money was all it took to get that footage. So stupid. Didn't even think to cover her tracks. My counterattack was simple and brutal. I was now a shareholder in their company, and I'd acquired the rival company. Wu Nanwan's actions clearly crossed legal lines. I waved to the viewers on the live stream, then publicly dialed the police. Wu Nanwan went to jail to sew clothes. After all, the competition wasn't just about reputation. It caused significant financial losses for the company, enough to land her in jail. She cried, begging to see Rong Ye one last time. I sent her a photo of Rong Ye and me instead, just to spite her. Rong Yuan woke up a year later. She said she'd had a long dream. She went to another world, met many people, and saw many strange and wonderful things. But in the end, she chose to come home, because home had her parents and her brother, who was quiet but loved her most. It sounded absurd, and I didn't believe it. But when Lin Bai heard this, she fell silent and hid in her room. I went to eavesdrop. All I heard was her crying, saying she missed home. But hadn't her family already passed away? She's my sister-in-law after all. I'll definitely be good to her, even better. I have the money after all. If my brother ever bullies Lin Bai, I'll beat him up, with Rong Ye's help. In the season of blooming flowers, my brother finally married Lin Bai. A perfect match, and Lin Bai looked stunning. The wedding dress was so beautiful. I wondered when I'd get to wear one. During the bouquet toss, I watched as it landed in Rong Ye's hands. Then, under the spotlight, he walked over to me. Chen Lingxue, will you marry me? The handsome man was proposing to me. I was a little excited, but I still nodded proudly. I'll reluctantly agree. Inside, I was ecstatic. Yay, I finally get to be with the person I love forever.